గంటల టైం 6 గంటలకు రా ఆడికి గంటలు 5:30కి 6కి వస్తాం సాయంత్రం 6 గంటలకు వచ్చి రాత్రి 8:30 వరకు అయిపోతుంది 8:30 వరకు అయిపోతుంది 8:30 వరకు అయిపోతుంది వచ్చేది అట్లా ఒక 4-5 వారాలు ఒక 10 వారాలు వస్తే నీకు అర్థమవుతుంది బిజినెస్ ఏంటనేది ఆటోమేటిక్ నువ్వే చేస్తున్నా.
Yes. Okay. Hope my screen is visible to everyone, right? Anyone please respond so that we can continue with the session.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, thank you, Vishwa. Okay, right. So right now we have joined this session to understand the we want to know about what exactly the Power BI. So the reason being, like you might be having many doubts, like there may be different set of the audience over here, like some may be from some non-technical background, or somewhere into the pharma side, or somewhere into totally non-IT background. And we find different set of audience, like those who are prepared for some government jobs, and they want to shift their career into the IT sector. So, and you might be seeing many videos like about the Power BI. Like now, after this end of the session, you will get a broad introduction about what exactly Power BI and what is the need of learning this Power BI, and what are the what are the different type of an area where this Power BI finds useful. Okay. So in a layman language, because we have some non-technical background as well, we have some people who have experience in the Power BI. So let us start from the scratch, and let us see what to understand what exactly the Power BI. At the end of the course, you need to have some idea. You need to get some take-home message, because it is very important for everyone to know about the course they are learning and what is the demand for that particular course. So when you look at this Power BI, we can say this Power BI, we call it as a business intelligence tool. Okay, this Power BI, this will help you. Suppose you have a data, suppose we have a client, they come up with some data over here. What is the use of Power BI? With the help of the Power BI, we will try to extract this particular data, and we try to create some important visuals and we'll share it to the client. So that means this is a tool which works on the data. From the data, we'll create some important visuals or report. And from this report, we share it to the client, and client will make some meaningful decisions how to improve his business decision or some strategic business they will take. So when you look at, before understanding, my name is actually to introduce myself. I'm a specialist data engineer. Like I'm also from a non-technical background where I started my career, like I'm a B Pharma graduate, where after that I did Pharma MBA. And then afterwards, I have totally 8.5 years of experience in corporate sector. And we're last when in the Novartis where I have joined. And after that, I worked further and in Freeze and worked in L&T. And right now, I'm a Power BI developer. So coming to my broad introductions, like coming to my teaching experience, I have nearly more than 8 years of experience. I have different experience in teaching to this Power BI. I have taught for some advanced Excel classes, and apart from that, have experience in teaching some gate coaching to the pharma students as well. So as an interest to the passion, it made me to drive to enter by working. I want to, my interest is towards the delivering the lectures. So I thought this is the 6th batch where we started the batches in first batch in February. And after that, and every month we are completing one batch more than 45 days to 60 days. And this is the 6th batch that we are going to start from November 11th. And where I worked in different some institutes, like presently I'm being associated some institutes like Amirpet. I also training as a trainer for giving the Power BI classes, where I associated with Analytics Benchmark Institute and Visual Path Technologies, where I am training for the Power BI developers and giving some important classes on basic SQL. Right. Now this is a general introduction. Now let us understand. I said what exactly the word Power BI is. We said Power BI is a business intelligence tool. And first thing when you join any course, we'll get an idea. We need to learn a course which has demand in the market, right? So when you look at this Power BI, we call it as a business intelligence tool. It works on the data. When you look at the particular data, Here, the data is growing at a very rapid pace. When you look at this slide, according to latest estimate, like near about 328 million terabytes of data is created every day. That means you can assume 1 terabyte is equal to, you can say 1 trillion 99 billion. So it is a very vast amount of the data is generated every day. The requirement is because when you see after the COVID pandemic came into the picture, the hourly spending on the internet has increased and everything is opted for the digitalization. Now, if you may take a single click in the internet back and suppose you were searching for any policy like healthcare policy or any insurance policy, and by looking if you give some email ID, your data is captured at the back end and data is generated due to a rapid penetration of the internet at the low cost and hourly spending on the internet is increasing. So this data is generating every day by day, the million terabytes of the data is generated. Now the problem is or every organization is having a very huge amount of the data, but they are looking for a tool to create from this data. There is a demand for the tool which will make some insights from particular data and share it to the client. So you can ask me when as the data is growing at a rapid pace, this Power BI is a business intelligence tool which works on particular data. So as long as there is a demand in the data, you can see that the data is growing at a rapid pace. There will be demand for a tool like Power BI which works efficiently on that particular data. Not only this slide, when you go to the further slide, I said the data is growing at a rapid pace. When you look at year of 2010, you can see here, this data is more than 1 or 2 or 10 terabytes of the data. When 2011, 12, 13, when you look at the 2019, it is like after 2019, you can see there is a rapid surge of the data you can experience. Reason being, the world has experienced a drastic situation called COVID pandemic, where due to the lockdown situation, the hourly spending on internet is increased. Most of them are looking for some online. Most of shifted to the total work from home, like maybe differently. Therefore, the shopping, everything they have searched more on the internet. The spending on the internet has increased, and everything has gone to the digitalization. You can see, like in India, where we are at a very rapid pace of the digitalization. We are in some cases of using the digitalization, we are far better than the advanced countries as well. Everything has become everything was previously in 2000. When you look back 2005 or 2016, there was some type of the paperwork is involved. Now due to the rapid penetration of e-governance, the paperless governance came into the picture. Lot of the apps are came into the picture, and most of them are things came into the online. That's why there will be, you can see in the 2019 after COVID pandemic, you can see the rapid surge in the data. It's near about 50 terabytes or 45. Now you can expect by the 2024, more than 150 terabytes of the data is generated. And we can expect by 2025, we almost reach near about 175 terabytes of the data we are going to expect. So the problem here is the global data is generating annually. When you can see in India also, when the Modi government come into the picture, like we opted for the digitalization. So by backend, everything has came into the online. So the data is generated because I am running a small institute. In the starting of the class, I said I conducted the demo, but I need to follow up. I need to get some data. Might be of course 10 or 15 students are attending some particular demo. Like most of them members, what are the data I need in order to follow up? I need the data, your name, your email ID, your phone number, what is your educational background, did you like the demo, and what are your expectation from me? So these are the some type of like what about your educational background? This data I require. Being a small organization where I'm training for only 20 or 25 students per batch, I'm depending upon the data. Can you say in any large organization like Flipkart or Amazon, where in seconds the lakhs of transactions are going on, they are depending upon the data. So we have many different type of the tools in the market. In the starting, we have some micro strategy tool. Then we had a ClickSense, and after that ClickSense, the Tableau came into the picture. After the Tableau, the visualization, the Power BI now become a master tool in the market. It is not, these are called Power BI, we call it as a visualization tool, measure called Power BI visualization, nothing but by looking this data, by looking at this data, we try to structure this data, make some meaningful visuals and share it to the client. So if this same graph, instead of creating in the visual, if I share it in the Excel sheet, it is becomes very hard for you to interpret like 2025. If I give just numbers, you need to say, spend some time in which year the data is very high. But if I try to create some pie chart or bar chart by using visuals, it becomes very easy for a person or for your client or any other. By looking at, you can say, yes, the data is growing at a rapid pace like 2025. So that's why the visualization has got a demand, a tool which is working on the visuals, which create the visuals from the data, has got a great demand in the market. Now, when I ask about the Power BI, the first word in the starting of this session, I told Power BI is a business intelligence software. I said the word, the powerful word called as business intelligence. So this Power BI is called business intelligence. So as some people are from few freshers are very quite new into this business intelligence or IT background, they need to understand what exactly the word business intelligence. Then only you can able to see, because Power BI is a tool which is a business intelligence software. You need to understand exactly what the word business intelligence is. When you look at the business intelligence, suppose any organization, suppose I'm running an institute, or I'm running any hospital, or I'm running any e-commerce business, what I will do as a business. First, the step is, generally I will collect the data. First, I will collect my data. I will collect the data and I will store some data in, if it is a data is very small, I will store my data in small Excel sheet. But assume my data is very big, like many transactions are going on. So if the data is very huge, I will try to store the data in some databases like SQL Server or Oracle database. So business intelligence is nothing but the way of collecting the data. After collecting, we'll try to analyze that particular data. And every data may not be in a structured format. So we will transform that particular data. Simple word, if I ask you to give me some address or something, some will give the full name as first, or suppose my name is Janardhan. I can give it as a different name. I will sometimes I will give as full name Patapaka Janardhan. Sometimes I keep as P Janardhan. Sometimes I keep just Janardhan, or sometimes I can give my nickname. And if I ask me to you give your mobile number, some will give as MOB number, some will give as mobile number, some will give as a contact information. That means this is type of a data is called as unstructured data. In order to use any data in the Power BI, the first step is you need to first, after collecting, you need to analyze the data, whether your data is in a structured format or not. If you, mostly if the data is of a manual, suppose if I ask for the details, somebody will give the pin code, some types of PC, pin code, like different data I will get. So I need to transform the data. The data I will get in a raw data, that will maybe unorganized data. My important step is I need to convert that unorganized data into organized data. That process we call it as transformation. So in order to collect the data, in order to analyze the data, in order to transform the data, we will use some tools, we will use some methods, we will use some techniques to collect this data, to analyze the data, to transform the data. So here, after collecting the data, analyzing and transforming the data, then you will create the data, you will give the data output in the form of some report, which contains some valuable and meaningful information. Nothing but if I've analyzed after that, after transforming the data, I convert the data into some meaningful information. That means I've created some report on it. And what I will do, that meaningful informations or the report that I have made as a Power BI developer, I will share it to the client. What the client will use that particular data. So he will improve his business making process, or he will optimize the business. Suppose I got a data of some e-sales commerce, like they are asked me to analyze the last year sales or month-wise sales.
I've analyzed the report as a given a sales trends of year wise. Then I prepare and I create some important visuals, say some line chart. Why the line chart will be useful to analyze your trend. You want to see last 5 what is the sales of this last 5 years. So I have prepared some meaningful information in the form of graph, and I will share it to the client. Now that will client will use that information whether to make his business process, like to optimize his business process. And if I want to see which products are breeding, which products are sales are increasing, and whether you want to enter into the new venture, whether we want to stop producing some products, and what are the different strategies they will make by using the valuable and meaning information in the form of graphs or in the form of reports or in the form of the dashboard we'll prepare and we will share it to the client. The client will use that information to optimize his business. Now here in this business intelligence, we are taking help of a tool called as Power BI. With the help of Power BI tool, we will collect the data, we will analyze the data, we will convert the unstructured data into structured data. From that, we will create some meaningful and valuable information in the form of some reports or dashboards or graphs, and will share that information to the client. Client will use that business to improve his decision making process, or he will use to that information to optimize the business. This whole process we call it as a business intelligence. What is the primary goal of business intelligence actually? The primary goals of business intelligence is to convert the raw data, which is unstructured data, into meaningful insights that can guide the strategic and tactical business decision for a client. So here the Power BI is performing this business intelligence process. That's why we call the Power BI is called as a business intelligence software. The first word they will say Power BI is a business intelligence software. Reason being it is performing the process of business intelligence. Now you can understand what are the key components of the business intelligence. You can see from this slide, first the data collections will, when you join some project came into your hand, first one, the process they will, suppose you are a Power BI developer, you joined any organization, first the client will give you data. The first step involves me is data collection. You need to collect the data. That means extract that particular data. That process we call it as data collection. After collecting the data, then you will see the processing and data transformation. I already said if the data is well and good without it is well structured data, it's not a problem. But if the data is not a structured format, then you need to make some transformation, data transformations. The data transformation and data process is nothing but to convert the data into any organized format, in a synchronous format, in a standard format, we call it as the data processing. After collecting and processing data, what you will do, then you analyze the data. The process we call it as data analysis. Once your data is structured, then you start the process of data analysis. In the data analysis, every step in the Power BI, in the data analysis of after collecting the data, suppose you have the 100 types of the tables loaded into the data is tables is there. You try to do the data analysis, like you try to build a relationship between the tables. You need to perform the data analysis. That process we call it as data analysis. Once the data analysis part is done, then you will try to build the visuals. That process we call it as data visualization. And from the visuals, we club that group of the visuals and we make some reports into it. That process we call it as reporting. And in the real time, we'll make 3 or 4 reports. But when you share some reports to higher management, like CEO of the company, suppose we have made some reports of in a different department, for HR department, for finance department, or for processing department. For different type of the department, you have made the reports. Sometimes instead of report, you will share suppose if you want to share the report to the CEO of the company, that you don't want each and every department in depth. Like you don't want suppose HR department, how many have joined, what is the attrition ratio, but he want to know about the holistic view, like overview of his business. Then we'll try to create a dashboard. That means from the reports, we will capture what are the high level visuals are there from the reports, and we will be pinning to the dashboard. This dashboard contains the visuals from the different reports. And report contain the group of visuals. We call it as from that we'll prepare the reports. From different reports, we will collect some reports and we'll pin it to the dashboard. It is called as dashboard. That means business intelligence process involves collecting the data from a raw data and making the data into organized format. Once data is ready for use, we perform data analysis. From that, based upon the requirement of this visualization, you should not prepare visuals up to own, depending upon the client need. Once client approaches you, he will throw some business questions on you. What is his requirement? Whether suppose the data collection, the company will show the data of loss from the business of establishment, but your client is interested to know the data of only last 4 years or last 5 years trend. So for based upon that client requirement, you will try to build the visuals. This visualization part will depends only upon the your client need, what type of the charts they want, what type of the information they want. Based upon that, analyzing that is business question. Before joining any company, a company will show you the business documents, BOD. Based upon once you need to go understand that BOD, then you will try to come to a conclusion which type of the visuals will be perfectly suited to address the business questions of your client. And after that, from the visuals, you prepare the reports, build the reports, and from the reports, we'll try to create the dashboard. And these are called as business intelligence. This Power BI is a tool for the data collection. It depends upon Power Query. We have a tool called as Power Query, which will perform the data collection process. This data collection, data processing, data transformation, all this process will be done by in the Power BI. We have a tool called as Power Query, where we discuss the 12 hours of the class, near about 12 to 15 hours of the class on Power Query. In order to understand the data analysis, there are hundreds of the tables will be, the data will be stored in the tables. We try to build some relationship between the tables based on some common ID. We have the data modeling like one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship. We try to build some schemas, star schema, snowflake schema, that we'll be discussing in the data analysis part, where the Power Pivot come into the picture. The Power Pivot, the 15 hours of the class, we'll be discussing about the data analysis part, which is called Power Pivot. Once your transformation is over, data analysis part is over, then the third part, we call it as data visualization. In the data visualization means to visualize, to build the reports in Power BI, we have a component called as Power View, which is dedicatedly where you can build the visuals, whether we can build the reports in the Power BI dashboard. So 15 hours of the class, we'll be discussing on this data visualization reports. Okay. And final one, once you build the reports, we'll share the reports to the client that we'll be discussing on Power BI service. Next, when you look at this Power BI, we call it as a business intelligence software. We call it as first, when you ask in a single word, we can call it as Power BI as a business intelligence software. Now, when you ask some non-technical technical background, they will say some people will call it as ETL software. Some are calling it as a data analysis software. Some are calling it as a visualization software. Some are calling it as a reporting software, or some are calling it as data analytics software. There is some reason for it, because why it is called as ETL software. What is meant by ETL? The full form of ETL, E stands for extraction. What is meant by extraction? Suppose that you are joined any business, or you are as a Power BI developer, you joined in any company, the client will give the data to you. It may be stored in Excel or SharePoint. Suppose it may be stored in a database like X or like SQL Server. First step, you need to extract the data. That means connecting the data from the external data into your Power BI desktop or into your Power BI. That process we call it as extraction. Then coming to the transform, I already said the data you might be making, the data may not be in a raw format. You need to transform the data based on your requirement to make it a standardized format. T stands for transforming the data. And L stands for loading. Once your transformation are perfect, Once you convert the unorganized data into organized data, then you will try to load the data. L stands for load. So the extraction, transformation, and loading, these three are done in the Power BI by using a tool, by using a software called as Power Query. This you can see in the business intelligence, data collection and data processing. This type of analysis will be done, ETL transformation process will be done in the Power BI by using a software called as Power Query. There is a component called as Power Query. That's why they are saying as Power BI is a ETL software. Now, after that, after the your transformation is done, you are analyzing the particular data, right? You are analyzing your particular data. So by building the relation, suppose you have 100 tables are loaded. Suppose assume it as you have the two tables. One table has a date table. Okay, I will. One table has a date table. Other table in the table have the information on sales. These are two different tables. Here, based upon if you want to build the visuals from two different tables, first you need to establish some relationship between them. How you can establish the relationship? Based on some common ID. In the date table, we have date. Maybe you are working on sales table. In the sales table, we have some order date. So in the table one, we have date. In the table two, based on that, you try to build a relationship. In this way, you perform the data analysis. So to perform the data analysis, we have Power Pivot. That's why Power BI, we call it as data analysis software, because it is performing the analysis, data analysis process it is performing. That's why we call it as data analysis software. Using Power BI, we are making some visuals, right? Some visuals. That's why some people are saying it as a visualization software. We are preparing the reports. We are building the reports by using the Power BI, right? Reports, visualize, we are building the visual. That's why visualization software, some people are calling. We are with the Power BI, we are making some reports. They are calling us reporting software. We are performing ETL transformation. That's why they are saying ETL software. We are performing the data analysis process. That's why we call it as data analytics software. And finally, you can say all these parts comes under the business intelligence. All this process we discuss on the business intelligence, right? In this slide, all these processes are coming under the components of the business intelligence. That's why Power BI, we are calling it as business intelligence software. Okay, this is the reason. Then you need to understand where the data is coming, what is meant by raw data, and how you are transforming the data, how the data analysis will be done. So in the coming slides, you will be able to understand some practical, some in-depth information, how the data processing will take place. See, why the Power BI has got some boom in the market. With the Power BI, many more than 100 or 120 different type of the charts you can make. And if you want the meaningful, the difference between when you go for Tableau or in Excel, suppose if I represent this in some pie chart, instead of giving the table, it becomes very hard for interpret which region is having highest sales. In the simple Excel also, if you make some pie chart, so giving the information the visual format, it saves a lot of time for the client to analyze his business. That is very simple. If I give the data in a simple Excel sheet, if I give the data in some pie chart or bar chart, by looking at this, you know, yes, out of this, North America is having the highest sales, 45%, which is this color. Then second, it is Europe. Like this type of the information is coming. Analysis we are doing by using this visuals, it becomes very easy. Now there are 10 or more than high components are there, more than like 10, 12, 13 components. If you represent it in the bar, you can say out of, suppose these are the sales of particular any category. By looking at, you can say yes, category A as having sales, and category of yellow, and that means this yellow category is C. And when you look at green category D, these three sales are same. Like this type of information that you can get when you give in the form of visuals. That's why a tool which is working on the visualization software, it is getting a lot of boom in the market. This is a very simple visual that you can do it in from a simple Excel as well. But in Power BI, we have some amazing visuals like gauge charts. We have the charts like advanced features like drill down and drill through. Within one visual, we can create the information of 20 or 30 type of the visuals information we can represent only in one visual using Power BI. If you do the same work by using Excel or some other tools, for that visual, you need to create 20 different type of the charts or visuals. But in Power BI, by using drill option, drill down, drill through option, within one visual, we can analyze the year-wise data, quarter-wise data, month-wise data, day-wise data, weekend-wise data, weekday sales data. We can analyze the business of last 1 month sales, last week sales. So this type of the visuals information which can be analyzed only in a single graph. So that is the use. When you go for the Power View, it's like a lot of amazing visuals you can prepare, you can represent, you can have the decomposition tree. In that you can give the sequence of information of your categories. That's why this is a lot of user friendly tool in the market. That's why it has captured the position of the Tableau. You can see the Tableau, it was a market which was visualization tool which was launched before the Power BI, but it was a leader in the market. Everybody, if you talk about the visualization, they used to go for the Tableau. But this Power BI, which was launched late in the market in 2017, this Power BI actually launched in the year of 2017. Now it is able to compete the Tableau, and it has become a powerful business intelligence tool in the market because it was released by the Microsoft. The reason behind is the only thing why the Power BI is sustained in the market, because the tool is updating day by day, like monthly. There are a lot of updations will going every month. There is some features will be added to the tool. So it is up to how in the same field. Whenever we are in the field, suppose I'm in the teaching field, if I want not able to update about the new features, that I will not sustain in the market. Is very simple. Suppose the world is like, suppose I'm a Tableau developer, I need to understand able to not migrate to the Power BI. I lose a lot of opportunity because the company that we have joined, now we had a 70 to 75 reports. Now Tableau projects or reports are migrating where into the Power BI. That is a task given to us. So if you're not able to update with the tools, so it becomes hard for the people to sustain in the market. Even the Tableau is also updating a future, but it is not at the rapid phase where Power BI is updating. And a tool launched by the Microsoft, Excel, which was launched way long back, more than our fathers have used the Excel, but still we are using the Excel. The reason being, there are a lot of versions of new versions are Excels are coming, and a lot of features are coming. They are updating the Excel as well. That's why a tool which is launched long back, now it is able to sustain the market because of this R&D team that they are developing, the new features they are adding. Here Power BI also, when you go for Power BI community also, when you look at the Power BI, you can see every month you will have an update. So that's why it is going to sustain in the market, and there will be huge demand. Previously, now you cannot mention any department where Power BI is not in use. Even you can see some international schools, they are representing, going for the Power BI reports. The Salesforce, the sales representative, medical representatives into the PMT department, they are using this. And not only simple healthcare, everything, because it becomes very user friendly and it is easy to navigate and it is easy to understand. Okay, that's why the Power BI has got boom in the market, which has taken the place of the Tableau, which was a market leader for many years in the visualization tool. When you look at C, we are saying the data analysis. What actually, how you do analysis of the data? That is the first step. So when you look at data analysis, we call it data analysis a 5-step process. How? Suppose you have get the data. Suppose your data is a small size, I told you will store in the Excel sheet. And if a data is a large size, you will store it in some SQL Server or SQL Server database. So the place where companies store their business data or transactional data, we call it as OLTP database, online transactional processing. Where they store the business data, we call it as OLTP. That means if data is small, they store in Excel. If it is large, they store in some databases, OLTP. Now, this OLTP data, most of the time, the OLTP contains the normalized data. That means in OLTP, it contains lot of tables because any data is stored in the OLTP, right? Like if a company established in 2018 or it may be 1998, it will store the data into the OLTP database. That means it contains requires more tables. And sometimes in the OLTP database, the data may be in the unstructured format. And it requires more tables because the data in the previous, right from the established environment, they might be storing the data. So to perform the operation, suppose if you are working on a Power BI developer, suppose you have downloaded the Power BI desktop, when you try to connect the data, and we should not connect the data directly to OLTP database. Once this OLTP database, to OLTP database, we will perform some ETL process. That means we'll transform the data and we'll convert OLTP database into OLAP database. That means OLAP, online analytical process. That means if the data is unstructured data, we convert into some structured data. And we'll load the data which is only required for our analysis. Okay, if your requirement is only for last 5 years sales, you try to load the data into it. So that's why when you directly, it is not recommended to connect to the OLTP database because it slows down your performance. Because it contains more tables, as the data size is huge, and the report, once you refresh your reports to connect to the OLTP database, it will take a lot of time. So it will create some type of irritation to the client. Okay, it is a very simple feeling, right? Once you are attending any, suppose you are watching any movie on Amazon or something, if the video, or watching the video on the YouTube, if it buffers for 3 or 4 seconds or 5 or 6 seconds, you will get a lot of irritation type of feeling. And if a client who is coming for your report, like he want the report, once he refresh the reports, if we take the lot of time, so it is not a good practice, right? And we need to improve not only making the reports is not a task for the Power BI developer. There are many ways to how to improve your performance of the report. Once you click, the refresh time should be minimized. This is also duty of the Power BI developer that you will be discussing when you go to discuss about the live classes. So once this data contains unorganized data, through some ETL process, you convert that unorganized data into organized data. This is called as OLAP database. Through this OLAP database, we will connect this to the OLP database and we'll create the reports. Those reports are shared to the client. And client will use this information to make some strategic business decision regarding his products, or regarding, he will make some decisions whether he want to improve, diversify his business, whether in which area he want to concentrate his business. That's why we can say it is never recommended to create report directly on OLTP database because it contains lot of tables and it contains normalized data. To move OLTP database to OLAP database, we need ETL software. So what is the ETL software in the Power BI is, we discuss Power Query is a tool which will do this ETL process. That's why Power BI, we call it as ETL software. Now, this is a general introduction of how the data analysis takes place. Okay, bye. And what is structured data? See, structured data means this is structured data, semi-structured data. This is unstructured data. When you store this data in a zigzag manner, it will not easy for you to interpret. So it is your duty to convert this unstructured data into structured data. And from the structured data only, you need to create the report. And otherwise you will get a lot of errors in the report. That you can see what is the importance of the structured data into the coming slides. See, this is a very simple example. You can understand what the problem arises if you not apply the transformation into your the data which you are storing. See, here there are many countries like serial number 1 to 7. This is the country name. Suppose this is a country and this is a sales column. We have only 3 simple columns. With the country United, some will write United States as total United States. Some will state it as US. Some will write it as USA. Some will store it as U.S.A. Some will store it as United States of America. And for UK, if some are giving as United K, UK. And my requirement is I want to create the visual. What is the total sales of United sales? What is the total sales of UK? This is unstructured data because United States, US, USA, United States of America is only one country. But if you load this type of data into Power BI don't have that much idea, they will think Power BI will think United States as one country, US as one country, US as a one country, and it will create this. When you try to create some bar chart, it will create this type of the visual. So thinking, and it is this thinking each and row, it is this country column as a separate country, and it will give the information. And if you give this type of information and if you will share this information to your client will go panic, because you see how many countries are there. So now it is your duty that these are the country name that you need to make it streamlined. You need to convert into a structured format. Yes, you need to understand all these are the United States. You are one and the same. You need to convert all total into United States. United Kingdom instead of UK, these two are same United Kingdom, and give the same values and with this data, if you build the graph, you will get the information like this, and this is the perfect data. When you club all this United States data, 1000, it comes to 1500, and UK 200 plus 100, 300. And this is the visual we got when you worked on a structured data. And we forgot to transform the particular data with the same data you made the visuals, and you are getting this type of the visuals. And this is not a correct way of representation. That means you are failed in the ETL process. You are not applied the transformation correctly. And that is the reasons you are getting the multiple countries. And the problem with Power BI is whatever you give the data, it will give the information. That is the problem. It is up to you. It will give the visuals for sure. At the back end, you need to see these visuals are coming from the right data or not. That's why first step in the 15 hours of the classes, we discuss with the ETL only, how to transform the data, joins, how to join the different tables. And that because unless you not make the ETL process correctly, it will not make any sense in building data analysis, in creating the visuals. If you feel that this part, and if you create the visuals, in spite you are creating some amazing visuals, if these are not backed by some meaningful insights, and you are making up visuals is nothing. That's why ETL is very important. And that's why while discussing, we start with the Power Query, how to transform the unorganized data into organized data. See, now you can see, now I am saying different type of the words, some technical terminology right from the beginning. I am saying Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View, Power BI Service. What at different places I'm using this technical terminology. But now with this slide, you can understand what exactly the Power BI is, what is Power Query, what is Power Pivot. The first thing, that Power BI, we call it as a collection. When you say Power BI, like a business intelligence software, some people we call it as it is a collection of software. In the Power BI, first we call it as Power BI desktop. See, when I open this visuals, see, when I open the raw file, like when you download the Power BI desktop, this is the visual that you will get. Once you load, it is an open software from the Google, or you can type here as Microsoft Store. From there, you can directly load the Power BI. So this is the general visual. This is the general interface of your Power BI desktop. Once you load it, you will get this type of information. Here we have three different types. Once you load the data, you said extracting the data. I'm extracting the data I'm seeing. Suppose how you can extract the data. Suppose I stored some Excel data in my Excel sheet. Okay. I want to, this is the Power BI desktop that I have downloaded. I want to collect the data, connect that data. I want to bring the data which is stored in my desktop to here. How I can? Here we have an option called as get data. From get data, there are many more than 45, 50 type of the data sources you can connect. You can connect to Excel, you can connect to Dataverse, you can connect to SQL Server, text. You can give some online web link of Wikipedia link. If you have any tables in Wikipedia, you can connect. You can connect the blank query. You can connect to everything. So let us learn to how to connect the Excel sheet. See, from the get data, once you download Power BI desktop, I will explain you how to download it. To get the data into your Power BI desktop, you need to come to get data, come to Excel workbook. Suppose in the desktop, I stored some table called as employee or department table. This is how I can bring the data into Power BI. Just select that Excel sheet, click on open. Now the tables which are there in that Excel, which is stored in the desktop, that will be appear over here. So it contains employee table, manager table, and department table.
Now you want to see the information which is present over here. Suppose I click on this department table. See, this department table has 3 different columns. When I click on employee table, you can see what are the different type of the tables are present in the employee table. When you click on the managers, what are the different type of columns in this manager table? So once you select, you need to select all the tables. It contains a simple data set which contains. Now we have extracted. Now we need to, after selecting the data, you need to click on the load. Once you click on the load, the data will be loaded into a Power BI desktop. Initially, it was stored into your desktop. Now you are loading into the Power BI. Just I click on the load. See, that means it is taking some load. It is creating large data sets. It is loading. Now you can see, now the data is loaded, is finished. You can ask me how I can confirm my data is loaded into the Power BI desktop. The table we loaded is department table, right? You need to click on here. See, in this we have department ID, department name, location. These 3 we have. Like other table, we have the employee table. 3 tables we have loaded. First is department table, that is present over here. Next, we loaded employee table, that is present over here. If you want to see, these are the 3 tables actually we have loaded. Which one? Department table is the one that I have loaded. Manager table, employee table is one table I have loaded. Manager is a table. These are the 3 tables I have loaded. If you want to see the information on that, just you click on it. This department table has these columns. Employee table has these columns. Manager table has these columns. And if you want to see this data in some tabular format, when you look at the Power BI, we have 3 components, but you can see we have a table report view. Presently, we are in the report view. This is the report. This is the data. This is the, call it as a data section. Whatever the data you connect from any Excel sheet or maybe the SQL server, it will be represented here. This we call it as data section. This is the area we call it as visuals. From here, you can build the visuals from here. Okay. Now, when you look at the Power BI, here we have the report view where you can build the reports. This is the area we can suppose if I want to make any chart or something, a region wise sales I want to make. Suppose I don't want these tables. Just I will I will create one simple visual for you. Suppose I come to orders table. So presently we are in the report view where you can prepare, where you can build the visuals. My requirement is I want to category wise sales of a category. There are 3 categories are there. Category. So I want to build some pie chart. Here I will select on pie chart. This is the pie chart. I want region wise sales. Region wise sales means in this order table, I will try to select this region. So region is selected. I want region wise sales means sales column. I will select the sales. So I got a visual region wise sale. Okay. So in this also you can apply a lot of formatting option. I am not discussing about this because it will take in the visualization part, I will explain you how you can make the transformation. So why I have explained here is this is the area called as report view where you can build the reports. This is the area. Now, if you want to see the data present in the orders table, these have this data. You want to see this data. To see the data, we have that table view. Okay, the data, whatever the data will be represented in the tabular format. You can select here and go to some table view here. See, I will select some in the orders table, select any column. In the orders table, we have category, row ID, order, ship date. We have customer ID, customer name, country, city, region. So we have this region by sales only, this region, and we have sales column, the region by sales. For this only, we have prepared the chart we call as pie chart. So this we call it as table view actually. Okay, this is first one, report view, where you build the report. Table view, you see the data in some tabular format. This data we call it as model view. What is the model? Because when you load many different tables, okay, so we'll try to establish the relationship between the tables. If you want to prepare the year wise sales, year is coming from here, suppose sales is coming from here. When you build a visual from 2 different, you need to establish the relationship. I will explain you in the Power Pivot how to establish the relationship. But as a fresher, then you need to understand we have one model view where different tables, what are the tables, different loaded tables are loaded will be present over here. Okay. Now this is the DAX Studio, DAX Power Query. Right now we are not discussing on this. Table report view for making the reports, table view for doing the data in the tabular format, and we have this view for prepare for seeing the tables and to build the relationship between the tables. Okay. Now you can understand. Yeah. Now data analysis using Power BI, we said it is the name of collection of software. In the Power BI, we call it as Power BI Desktop. So this is the desktop that we have shown you know that is called as Power BI Desktop. This Power BI Desktop, we call it as developmental software. When you look at the Power BI Desktop, we have Power Query, I have already said. So in the Power BI Desktop, there will be three components. In this Power BI Desktop that I have shown you, it will have three components. First one, we call it as Power Query. 15 hours of the class, we discuss about the Power Query. That means ETL software, how to convert unstructured data into structured data. That is one. Next, we have Power Pivot. What is meant by Power Pivot? You need to build a relationship between the tables. I have shown right in the Power Pivot. If the relationship is not there, we'll try to relationship between the tables. We'll try to create some one-to-one relationship between the tables. So this is the area we call it as Power Pivot. So for data analysis purpose. And third one, Power View, the area where you can build the reports. So where we can build the reports, here in the report view, we are preparing the reports, we will build the visuals. This is called as Power View. This area we call it as Power View. Now Power Query means once you go to this transform data, suppose your data is connected. Now I want to make some changes in the data. I want to make the transformation. Power Query is the transformation, right? ETL transformation. How I can transform the data once you collect the data. To transform the data in this tab, we have a transform data. Just click on transform data over here. Your tables, what are the tables are there? Suppose in the orders table, those tables will be represented here and you will make the transformations. You will make that. See, from home tab, you have this many options. In the transform tab, you will have this many options. In the add column, all these are the options like you can see in the Excel. These menu based options are used to transform your data. These are used to transform your data, unstructured data into structured data. Suppose if this is the order ID, it is there. If you want to remove this order ID, just you can remove it like this. So any transformation. And if you want to, out of this, if you want to go to the customer name or something, you can go to the choose column over here. In this choose column, you can go to column. I can click on customer name. I need to go on customer name. Just click on OK. I will go to the customer name column. Like this is the Power Query. In the coming classes in the Power, we will discuss each and every menu based options. We will not leave any options in this Power Query transformation. We will go by home tab and how these options are useful to transform data. We will go to transform. We'll menu based by option, menu based option will go and search what is the use of this data, how it is helpful for the transformation. In the add column, in the view tab also we'll have different type of the options. So we'll try to this in the first 15 hours of the classes, we will try to understand this home tab, transform tab, add column tab, view tab. By using this menu based option, how you will convert the unstructured data into unstructured data. This is the part called as Power Query. You can see Power Query Editor. So this is the area like we can study as Power Query Editor, Power Query ETL sort. This is the Power Query. Next relationship, Power building the relationship in the table, Power Pivot will study. And report view, I already said, this is the area where you can build the visuals and share it to the client. All these three parts, we call it as Power BI Desktop. And you are developing the report in this Power BI Desktop itself. That's why Power BI Desktop is called as developmental software. Okay, why Power BI Desktop is called a developmental software? This is the area where you are developing your reports by making some transformation, some building some relationship between the tables, creating some visuals, making the reports. All these are taking place in Power BI Desktop. That's why we call Power BI Desktop is a developmental software. Now, client has approached me, I have developed the Power BI Desktop. My report will be, will be there in my local desktop, right? Now I need to share this report to the client. So there should be one platform, web-based platform, where I can publish the reports. Some web-based platform should be there where I can publish the report. Some cloud-based platform should be there. See, I prepared this. It is in my local desktop. If I ask you after the end of the session, you will load the Power BI desktop, you build the visuals. Now, how you can share the reports to the client? Through some web-based, cloud-based platform, you will publish that report. Suppose this is the report I have prepared. Generally, I will publish the report. I click on the publish. It will ask, do you want to save the changes? Yes, save the changes. Now, it will ask for the, right now I am not publishing the report. Not publishing the report. So here after the publishing, here it is ask for the Power BI, publish the report online on Power BI service. Here it will ask for the name. You need to give some credits after saving. You need to give the file name. You need to save it, and after that you need to publish. In order to publish the report, publishing the report at the end of the phase, I will explain you, because you need to have a Power BI service account. Then you need to log in through some credentials. That will be it will take a lot of time to understand, and as a raw some students it will become very hard for to understand at this point of time. Right now I am not publishing the report, but understand development of the report will take place in this Power BI desktop. Once you publish the report, you will publish the report in the cloud based platform, the Azure based platform, where you publish the report and share that report to the client. We call it as Power BI service. It is a web based platform where you can publish the report. From there, where you publish the report and where you share the report to the client, we call it as Power BI service. And 15 hours of the class will be discussing on Power BI service. Now, it is a cloud-based platform. Sometimes on-premises server is there where you can share the reports to the client. It is a Power BI report server, but 99.99% we are using the Power BI service only. But on-premises, we have Power BI report server where you can publish the reports. But right now, most of the companies are not using this. Now there is another component in the Power BI where we call it as Power BI mobile. That means it's like a mobile app. It's like a mobile app which is used for viewing the reports in your mobile. Just once you publish the reports in the form of app, you can see the reports in the mobile layup option by looking in the reports. It's like a mobile app for viewing the reports in your mobile. That we call it as Power BI mobile. This all that's why we have different type of the softwares are there. They are saying the Power BI is the name of collection of the software, where Power BI desktop is there, where the development of report will complete. Through Power Query, we will make the transformation. Through Power Pivot, we will build the relationship in the table data analysis. Power View, where you can create the reports or build the visuals. Power BI service is the area where you publish the reports, share the reports to your client, which is the online based Azure cloud based service to share the report. And Power BI mobile to view the report in the form of app. Okay, this is the general introduction of the Power BI. Now, whole scenario of all this demo will depend upon this slide itself. This one slide will speak you to understand. If you understand this slide, it means that you have understand today's session. Power BI architecture may be a fresher you are going to join. If you join my classes or not, or if you go through search any channels in the YouTube, first you need to have some introduction about this Power BI architecture. If you have some knowledge, basic knowledge, then it will becomes for easy for a new entrant who are learning the Power BI. See, we have said Power BI desktop, right? This is the Power BI desktop, Power BI desktop. Now, this Power BI is a developmental software where you're making the reports. I've said just I've given for the time being, I prepared some rough dummy visuals for you. This Power BI, I already said Power BI we have the Power Query. In the transform data, we have many menu-based options, right? In the transform, when you go in the transform data, this is called as Power Query Editor. Okay. Yeah, Power Query. We have the Power Pivot. We have the Power View. Okay. In the Power BI, first step we call it as when the organization already, I'm saying any organizations are the small organizations, they stored in the Excel database, I have said. If you have a large data set, suppose 100 GB or 1050 GB, they will store in the SQL server. Now, the connecting of this data from Excel, SQL Server, or Oracle database into your Power Query, once you load this process, we call it as extraction. After extracting the data by using the Power Query here, menu-based options, we'll try to make some ETL transformation in the Power Query. After that, you'll push the data into Power Pivot. In the Power Pivot, where you build the relationship between the tables. Then you will work on the Power View, where you build the visuals. And this is the area we build the visuals, means reports and visuals. So the development is taking place, right? This is called as Power BI Desktop. After building your reports, you need to publish the reports, right? There are two options where you can online based server like Power BI service, you will build the reports, or we can Power BI report server within the local system. But majority are 99.9%, they are going for the cloud-based platform because of many advanced options. And once you publish the Power BI service, after publishing is complete, we'll share the reports. Now, to whom you will share the reports? To the clients you will share the report. Now, what the client will do? The client will use this informations for making his business decision. The final report is used by whom? Client. And this data source will be provided by whom? Client. Who will develop the report? It's you. After getting the job as a Power BI developer, you will develop the report. Who will publish the report? You will publish the report. Who will share the report? You will share the report to the client. That means you are looking at the data, taking the data from the client and making some important visuals and sharing it to the client, and client will use that information in order to make some business. It is like you are looking at the watch of the client and you are saying what is the time. You can ask me whether why the client may not be whether he cannot go for this development and prepare the reports by himself, because if any company will not have that much resources, because suppose it's a Flipkart and Amazon or something, any company, they will try, they will have they will try to expand their business, they will look at the data, they will depend upon that e-commerce, how to increase the sales and how to penetrate in the market. Their business importance are different, so they will depend, they have the data, they need some professionals who will work on the data and give the insights in the form of reports. And there is a need for the tool in the market which is efficiently work on the data and derive some important visuals. And even they should be very user friendly interface. Even after you are sharing the report, the client will not have that much knowledge, right? In order to use this report, that report should be user friendly. Okay, it's like operating a smartphone. So if it is user friendly, if the technical knowledge, lot of technical knowledge, if to use the reports, you need to write some code or something, the client will not will go for this particular tool. The use of this tool, Power BI, it is an amazing tool where the options are straightforward. When you go for this Power BI desktop also, all options are very straightforward. By looking at, you can see lot of the options are straightforward. Very choose to column, remove column, keep rows means it will keep top rows, it will keep the top rows, keep bottom rows, keep range of do. It's like an Excel. So lot of options are user friendly, and final reporting also visuals are also user friendly. So that's why the clients are more attracted towards using the Power BI, where it is a very user friendly in the market. Now this process flow very simple. I have already explained to you in the previous slide itself. Suppose the data is SQL or data is stored in some cloud or somewhere. We'll collect the data. From there, you will develop the reports, Power BI desktop. From print, that means you are publish the reports into online-based Power BI service. Once after, you will share the reports. The reports shared by the client will be used in the form of mobile. He will use in Power BI mobile layout. He will use from the mobile. He can access the report from the tablet, or you can use from there. You can access the report, or from using the laptop you can access, or by using the computer desktop also you can access the report. So this is the general process of Power BI. Now this is a very important slide you need to understand. Tableau versus Power BI. Every questions like most of the people might be having on the knowledge, and many are people why the world is moving towards a Power BI from Tableau to Power BI. Tableau is also is an amazing tool. It was very lot of important great visuals that you can make from the Tableau. But now why the all companies are migrating to the Power BI? That is a very important question here. The first only thing why Power BI is beating Tableau is integration with Microsoft ecosystem. Because you can ask in the Power BI, it can easily, Power BI is easily integrating with the other Microsoft products. What are the other Microsoft products? You have the MS Excel, Azure, SQL Server. It can easily integrating with the other Microsoft products. Because that's why you can see now the world is Microsoft Fabric, where I have recently I'm in the process of upgrading myself. I'm a lot of because Microsoft Fabric, I'm updating my knowledge from Power BI, where I compare the SQL. I learned the Azure-based platform. So once this seamless integration of this Power BI through its products, it is very fast. This is the important future of Power BI. But when you look at the Tableau, in order to integrate with Microsoft ecosystem, it requires some additional configuration. But Microsoft is seamlessly integrating with its Microsoft product. That's why, because when you take as a club, like it a club, it will save a lot of time to the client also. The cost reductions will be less, right? So that's why integration with Microsoft ecosystem is the one of the important future where Tableau, where Power BI is beating the Tableau. Next, cost effectiveness. Suppose you are doing a shopping. First, with what is they look, if you have the budget constraint, you look at the cost, right? So generally the cost will be less, because when you go for the pro licensing, we have the Power BI Pro license, Power BI Premium per user license, we have premium license. So which is very $10, which is very less cost. That's why the Power BI cost effectiveness is less with the Power BI, but high initial cost is there for the Tableau. That's why due to the cost effectiveness, the Tableau is overtaken by the Power BI, which is more cost effective when compared to the Tableau, where the high initial cost is involved for the licensing. And one more thing, ease of use and learning curve. There are a lot of menu-based options directly. So we perform the joins. You need a lot of time in the Power Query. If you want to achieve the same results, you need to write some lengthy codes in some other tools. But in Power Query, we have hundreds of menu-based options. Just by using the click, it will write the code at the back end, what we call it as M code. Just you will click the menu based options, but Power BI, Power Query itself will write the code at the back end. So that means it's the ease of use is there. And it will be very user friendly. I said within the one visuals, you can create some drill down options, drill through options. We can use multiple visuals in a single report. We can use some buttons. We can use some bookmarks. We can use change the titles dynamically. There are a lot of ease of use and learning curve is there, but it is also user friendly. But Tableau is not that much user friendly as Power BI. So that's why it has beat the Tableau into the market. Power Query transforming the data. I've already said the Power Query, it has a lot of transformation, hundreds of menu based options are there. That's why Power Query, a lot of many straightforward options. By looking at that, you can work on a complex data and you will simply analyze the data. And next one, that's why the menu based options are very easy. That's why Power BI is able to beat the Tableau. Next one, it is integrating with the natural language query. What is the meaning natural query? We have some question and answer visuals. So in the Power Query, when you go Power View, suppose you will say, I want the last year sales of, if you give a commands in the natural language, it will create the visual. I want a pie chart for last 6 months. Just you type the query in a question and answer visual, and automatically it will create. Here, in order to create the visuals, what happened? In order to create the visuals,
previously, I have used the pie chart, have selected, then have select the region and have select the sales. But this is the not case. We have a visual called as question and answer visuals in the visualization that I will explain you later, where you can give the commands. I want this pie chart of this. So based upon the commands, it will give you the final output. So this is how the Power BI is useful, like natural language query action. It is also there with the Tableau, but it is not that much advanced when compared to the Power BI. So that is the reason it is taken by the Tableau is overtaken by Power BI. Next, if you work on any data, first of all, you are giving some data. Security and governance is also very important. Cost is also important. Low cost, ease of understanding is transformation. You can play with the big data set. Natural language process, you can give the commands in the text language. By using the text language commands, it is giving the reports. Security and governance, when you go for it has a robust security. Your data is at most very security, including Azure and AD integration. So the security and governance, it also Tableau also security feature, but in order to attain the security feature, it may take some additional configuration for the Tableau. So that's why in case of security and governance also, the Power BI is able to overtake the Tableau over here. Next, real-time analytics. So integrating, we said we had integrating with the different data sets, integration with the micro seamless integration. So that real-time, but Power BI may be advantage. It also support the real-time data, but it is not that much advanced when compared to the Power BI. Okay. Azure integration. So directly it can integrate to the cloud-based format where Azure services. Here Power BI service also Azure-based platform where directly you can publish the reports. It is also can connect to the Azure, but may have some seamless experience due to native integration. Here we have the Microsoft Azure. It is into the cloud-based platform. It is seamless integrating with Microsoft ecosystem. So that's why it is outpacing the Tableau in this Azure integration also. Next, you can say community learning. What is meant by community learning means as a Power BI developer, we have a Power BI community. Suppose you are working on some lengthy DAX formulas, you are stuck somewhere while doing the work. So in the Power BI community that you can post some questions related to yes, this is the formula, my results are not in get. So can you get give some idea? If you can type in that community learning, in that community, Power BI community, many people will give the different approach how to resolve that issue. Many people. So that much, if you give, you will get the answer. So with that, you can develop your subject on the Power BI. You can find the multiple ways how you need to get the results from it. What are different approaches to fix the query? How to solve that problem? That is the community. This Power BI community is very rigorous. And you can ask me, this community is very vibrant because it will use as some learning tool, like to develop their knowledge on the Power BI. You can ask me, such vibrant community is there in the Tableau? Yes, it is there, but it is not that much active when compared to that of the Power BI. It is there, but it is not that much active. Okay, that's why. So it will like is a resource where you can improve your knowledge. It's like a knowledge resource where you can through the Power BI community where you stuck somewhere where we get a different how to fix that issue by using the different ways. And I already said updates and innovation. This already said, right? Anyone, if maybe not a Power BI tool as a candidate, if you're not able to update yourself, you will not sustain in the future because previously it was a click sense. Previously starting it was MicroStrategy, then it was a click sense, then it was a Tableau, then it was a Power BI. Tomorrow what it may be some other tools in the market. But why we are enough confident that Power BI is able to sustain in for coming 10 or 15 years or 10 years because it is in order to protect from the cutthroat competition in this arena, it is constantly updating and innovating this Power BI desktop. Month by month, it is adding some new features as as a candidate, if you are able to grasp, because now Power BI Copilot came into the picture. In Power BI Copilot, if you ask like natural language query, it is giving the answer. It is doing analytics. In order to give the graph, you need to lot of analytics you need to do to study that graph. If you give the graph, it is when you throw a command to the Power BI Copilot, it is analyzing your data and it is giving the results. So that type of the innovations is coming. Now Microsoft Fabric, it is also faming. It is integrating other Microsoft services. So this type of the innovations are coming into the Power BI. That's why a Power BI is going to have a demand in the future. Previously, Power BI developers did few companies are using. But now, even from ranging from a startup company to the high-end MNC companies in the throughout the world, BI is becoming a mandate tool. It is one of the important skill set. I'm not saying only learn Power BI you will get the job. I'm not saying that, but it is one of the skill set very required to improve your skill set or to make your profile rich. Next, why to choose a Power BI career as a path? This type of a slide you might be seeing many in the many WhatsApp group. I have already said high demand tool in the market you have seen because this tool is very high demand. We have wonderful job opportunities. The reason thing why I was very fascinated to make my to share my practical experience as well, because my wife, she is also from the non-technical background, and I am myself, I am from into the from the non-technical background. The 3 or 4 years back, where my wife, she was working in the Tech Mahindra into the non-technical background, where her package was 3 lakhs after having 6 years, not more than 6-7 years of working in Tech Mahindra in the non-technical, where she worked as a chat process. But she has learned the Power BI because his brother was into the Power BI service. Then she slowly transformed the Power BI career into, then she joined in NCG company, where they have offered for 8.5 from 3 to. Now after that, she have migrated now into the PepsiCo company, where now she has become the manager into the PepsiCo company now, where she is holding the 20 lakhs per annum. Now I'm saying everybody will get same type of the knowledge or not, but learn the tool very well. See, it may be from 8 to 20, it becomes for you how they offer such that much package to her. But she forecasted, she learned the Power BI in such a way. Apart from Power BI, she learned the SQL, and she forecasted the previous year experience, what she have done in the non-technical, in the Tech Mahindra choice process. There, the designation analysis, they said like into the last 5 years, she worked in the Power BI. In that way, they transformed because there was an analyst simple, they have given the title as analyst. She transformed the career, and she took the path in the Power BI. Myself also came into the non-technical back, where I studied for the Novartis, and then in the Novartis also previous experience, I learned the Power BI into end to end, where I forecasted my previous experience also into the Power BI, and I offered it land into the very good package by using that learning the tool very well. Because in the market also you can see, I'm straightly forwarding, most of the people are 90%, 95% are Power BI developers. They don't have real-time experience. Real-time means 3 or 4 years of experience, but they're learning the tool, and previous experience, they are forecasting that as a Power BI experience. And even interviewer also know that, but in the interview, you are able to answer the questions confidently. If you fulfill the requirement, what they are asking, then definitely they are going to hire you. I can say employee example as a trainer. I should not disclose this because in the Novartis they are used. They never use the Tableau, also ClickSense. After some and the Novartis also, I have interviewed for NLT, and they ask for the questions, like a lot of questions I've been answering, but that the candidate is coming from he worked 4 or 5 years into the Novartis itself in the Novartis. He coming from the Novartis, I don't know. But after the end of the session, he was saying like, you stayed, you worked on the 3 or 4 years in the Novartis, but Novartis not nowhere they are using the Power BI developer. They are using the they are using the Tableau. At least they are 90% they are using the ClickSense. But they got selected for me because at the final he was laughing and saying me, you answered 100% of the question, and there is no reason that I need to push your profile back. But my requirement has fulfilled. Your expectation has reached. So he took like you are able, once I will hire you, you are able to manage your job independently. That's why he moved my profile into the next round. So this is because many people coming from here, they will have a lot of questions. I am from different background, whether how I can manage it, like switching the career at this point of time is you. But suppose you are into the data set, into the different data set, adding the Power BI into your skill set, definitely enrich your profile. I request learn the profile into end Power BI. If you are into non-technical background, try to forecast that experience as this. You work the Power BI itself. Try to keep, you learn the tool like as a 4 or 5 years experience professional, then give the interviews. If you are able to answer the question, you will be get hired. That is the only thing. Even in the last, I can say some people from the pharmacovigilance background,
They have changed these designations and even working on 7 to 8 years of experience into a different data set, which is of a different profile. But because they have experience of 8 years of experience, but they don't have experience on the Power BI. But because due to some after the COVID pandemic, due to the sluggish growth, even working on 7 or 8 years, their package was very less, which is of 7 to 8 or 10 lakhs. So they tried, they learned the Power BI. From that, they use previous experience as a Power BI and they transform the career. It is like a dare step. So try to use. And one more thing I am saying, with the only Power BI will get the job. Like Power BI, please add skill set to the SQL. Power BI plus SQL also, basic SQL, which is useful for our Power BI. How to connect the data, writing some queries that I will explain you in the Power BI itself. Okay, Power BI plus SQL should be mandatory because nowadays they are asking the experience of SQL also. And don't stop with the Power BI and SQL. Add one cloud technology after completing, after getting the job. Add one cloud technology like Azure. Then, if you have time after doing the job, take the time period or 1 or 2, take 1 year time frame. Start learning the Python also. If you learn Power BI plus SQL plus Azure plus Python, then 10 to 15 years happily you can settle in this data field section. Power BI plus SQL, it's okay. With this, you can survive, you will get the job. Suppose if you want a breakthrough in your salary, or if you want to get a high increment like more than 100, sometimes even 100%, start, you plan your career like up to 1 or after 2 years or after 2 or 3 years, I will be expertise along with Power BI plus SQL plus Azure plus Python. Then it will be lot of this type of a deadly combination is superb combination. When once you click keep your resume and many companies, you will get a lot of calls and you will try to have a chance to improve. Okay, because Power BI the use it becomes very easy. 2 months is more than a lot of time, because for this Power BI I am dedicating 60 hours classes for every, that is more than enough. Because a learn, because same tool I am opening this desktop for 60 days I will explain. So same desktop, only one tool, just you are adding different data set. 2 months time is more than enough. SQL also I will explain you the basic SQL which is useful for the Power BI. If you want to advance, you can directly, there is separate SQL courses there, but I will give the classes for the SQL as well. By using this, if you don't have any knowledge on Power BI SQL, keep the target as Power BI and SQL. Then try to get the job. Then add on Azure and Python to the skill set based upon your, because if you are quite new, learning all the course at a time will not help you. Because when you go for scalar something, data scientist, they will then give the 6 months of time, they will give the 20 technologies. Please don't go and don't waste your money. Because 1 month, in 6 months, you will not become a data scientist, even whoever teach, because at least for this only we will take 60 hours of the classes. They will give different type of the tools. Python, they will give for 15 days. How you can learn the Python in 15 days? In Power BI also, there will be sometimes you will see different, by learning the Power BI in 3 days or 4 days. No, at least for my understanding, 45 to 50 hours will be sufficient to learn just only this one tool. Oh, this is a simple Power BI. So don't go for join big courses. Try to set the time frame and step by step you go. Already you have the knowledge on Power BI and SQL. If you have, just add different skill set to your Python and you can move fast forward. So this is a very, you can say, attractive salary package. You can have the cloud integration easy. Career growth will be good. The only thing is, while shifting the company, your career growth will be good. They will even sometimes the company are even offering the 100% hike. I've seen the different situation, because where I personally shifted, where I got 150% of the hike, which may not be possible when I would have filled in the same field. That is the thing that made me to change my career, and I found it challenging. Apart from the Power BI, I start adding different skill set to me. So I thought after setting the fire 5 years, like I can update myself so that the career will be good for coming the downlines of in my future. And apart from that, this is the general scenario that you can know, right? Power BI Analyst, this demo we have discussed, right? Next one, like as a Power BI developer, like how we start from the basic level, we go to the advanced, starting from, but taking into the concept. First of all, I think you don't have any knowledge on the Power BI. We start from the basic level to go to the highly advanced, at least 4 or 5 years of experience professional who are having on the Power BI knowledge. That type of the knowledge I will give for you, that's for sure. And I request everyone, don't be in a hurry to join my course. Listen the classes for 2 or 3 hours, then try to listen other classes, try to listen other platforms. You can attend other and the institute's demo if you have a time. Then after that, you compare like how much basic and in-depth, like here the coaching we will provide like what are the mistake you done once a real time of data set you work once you get the job, what are the hurdles you face while doing the job, that will be more highlighted in my teaching. That we'll see. It's not like we are covering one topic and you are covering step by step. What are the most options that we use where you will stuck in the real time. In that type of experimental learning will be there. And apart from that, mock interviews also will be conducting. Out of 4 sections, every section I will conduct the mock interview. In the previous batch also, now mock interview will be scheduled on this Sunday. After completing each section, mock interviews will be conducted. And out of 7% of the market, only one best performer will be selected, and that recording will be shared in the group in order to build a competitive spirit among others. And the remaining, it will be a teams. I will record the recording, I will give the feedback and share it personally on your WhatsApp. So after giving 4 or 5 interviews, then it will be helpful for you. Then once you go into the real time, then it will helpful for your syllabus will be completed here. Parallel, you will learn the mock interviews. Then it will be easy for you when you start giving the interviews. And people will be asking how many days to learn the Power BI. When you get people learn the Power BI course, then they start preparing after completing the course. They will take some 3 months for the preparation. That is very wrong methodology actually. For if you are learning the Power Query, try to I will share the interview questions. I will have the interview questions of last 57 companies. Even I attended for near about 27 company personally, even after being placed, just in order to understand the trend, what type of the different questions they are asking. After completing the each topic of each recording of Power Query section, I will give all the expected interview questions, which are real-time questions, which will be asked in the interview, and I will share it to you for every section. I will and after every class, what type of the interview questions they will ask, I will prepare a folder, I will share it in, and after listening my videos, recorded videos, then you try to answer the question in your language. How if the same question will ask in the interview, then it will be easy for you. If you learn the Power BI course, it more than 2 months is enough. But if you have a diluted preparation, if you take a break, after 3 months, you have some personal commitment. Again, you listen the record. Don't at least more than don't go for the recording. Just listen, practice. Once only practice, you will get to able to understand. If you don't practice, if I listen, it will be type of a theoretical classes for you, because this I have given the background, and from the next first class directly I will take the raw data and I will make go for the transformation. This basic is sufficient. At least from this you can know what is the Power BI, what are the different components, and why you are learning the Power BI. This type of the knowledge you have got. But once you understand the free classes, when you go for the first 3 classes, I will connect the data source, how to, or that type of the technical angles and technical aspect we'll be discussing over here. Try to once the Power Query complete, give the mark interview. After 4 section, we will have final interview of the Power BI. That will be of 4 section. If you're able to perform well in this 5 interviews, and you try to practice this 5 questions, like all the 5 set of the questions in the 5 different topics, more than we will get each more than 100 questions will be there for Power Query. 100 more than 400 questions or 450 questions. If you practice, it will be very useful to go in the interview in a confident manner. Okay, and we'll take some end-to-end project like one insurance, one banking, 2 projects I will explain from right connecting the data to publishing, and I will give one project for a dummy data. You need to prepare the report and you need to share it to you, so that I will share what are the different if there is any formatting options or a process improvement is there, I will explain to you. So learning material, free learning material will be provided for each topic. I will, if you want to share, I will share the slide, and total material will be provided. Question and answers will be provided. Mock interview recordings will be provided, and interview guidance. If you have scheduled interview, if your interview is tomorrow or something, if you want any personal guidance, you can call it me for taking the suggestions how to you can perform the interview. So this is, and fees is like Power BI plus SQL. It is for the single installment is 12,000 for Power BI apart from the SQL. And if you want the SQL in very advanced level, like a 5-year or 6-year, like I will share the recording. I have a friend who is expertise in SQL, totally SQL expert, and I will also provide the recordings for you apart from the basic SQL which is used for the Power BI. That what I will explain in the classes while making you to learn the Power BI. So Power BI Copilot, I have already said. The Power, it is smart assistant. Like how it is. Suppose if you give a text query, it is able to give understand that this is the one of advanced feature the Power BI to. So it will ask when you understand when you ask in a plain language, it will create the charts and reports and give insights for you. So I want the sales of last 5 years sales. You give the data, give the analysis of that the particular graph or pie chart. If you, it will give the analysis and it will throw for you. So this was an advanced future Power BI Copilot. So once you go for the net, this was because why I'm stretching on this in the our interview, like they are asking how you use the Power BI Copilot, how it is useful. They are asking for the Copilot because complex data, it is giving the insights for you. That's why it is as a part of innovation Power BI. In complex DAX queries, if you are writing on the complex query, Power BI Copilot will help you to debug that code and to understand that powerful DAX codes also. Yeah, this futures you can see, ask like can show me the sales of last 6 months, create a chart, it will create the chart for you. What was the best selling product last year? You have the different type of the chart. You ask a question in the plain language. What was the best selling product in the last year? It will give, by looking at the data, it will give the answer for you. So suppose if you have a data, there is a sudden dip in the data in your analysis, then Copilot will highlight, yes, there is a sudden growth in that particular region. If you region-wise analysis, one region is completely bleeding. By doing the analysis part, Copilot will analyze it. So it is like it will save a lot of time instead of manually analyzing Power BI code. So it will helpful for easily interpretation of the data. So it will create a clean and prepared data. So if a data is in different format, if you ask to fix the date format, it will make a fix the data in the uniform DDMMYY or DDMMYYYY in that format. If you have the duplicate, it will ask you to remove the duplicates. So it will save a lot of time. A type of automate or weekly sales report, or a type of giving the questions in the plain language will give able to answer. So making the quick insights. I said Microsoft Fabric also. Yeah, it is a powerful data to seamless integrating with other Microsoft ecosystem we called as Microsoft Fabric that we have discussed. Yeah, this is some basic reports. Process of implying how to process the download Power BI desktop. In the first class, we'll start with the same topic, how to download the Power BI desktop. It is easy. I'm not explaining you because in the next class we'll start to explain because we are running short of time because already 12:34. Okay. Now I'm done with my presentation. Like if you have any questions, like please, I can answer the questions. Like you can go one by one. You can ask the questions. I will stop the recording. 1 second. Yeah.